Hi BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I know I did a video recently that was an update, but I realized I didn't talk a lot about what I was reading specifically. Like, I mentioned what I was reading, but I feel like I didn't really talk about those books specifically. I think I talked about more just what I was feeling in the moment. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity to talk more about the books that I'm currently reading. So first, let's talk about Autumn Republic. It's the third and final book in the Powder Mage trilogy, although I think there might be some prequel books, standalone prequel books out. I think I'll have to double check on that. But this one kind of picks up right after the second one left off. So the characters are dealing with the aftermath of the events in the second book. And there's also, of course, a lot of the relationships are starting to heal, I feel like, in this book, which makes sense because it's the last book. And which makes me very happy because I want these characters to be happy and work and at least be on the road to working out the relationships. Like Thomas and Tennille's relationship, and I want, him to, continue to respect and forgive, what is her name? I forgot her name. I can't think of it at the moment. Let me see if it says. What is her name? What is her name? That's so weird. I can't think of it. What is her name? Sorry, I'm trying to. The woman that. Well, here's Olem. And to forgive. So Olem for one, and then, that one woman, Laura. Here's her name, Laura. Sorry, I could not think of her name. Laura and Olem. I want Thomas to forgive them, and I want, and I want the other, Adam to get his family back, put his family back together. So, so far it's really good. And this time I actually started, the battle, and there was a battle scene early on this time around. Which, actually, that also kind of makes sense, considering how things were left last time. And, although we saw it from a different perspective, we got it from a different perspective, because there were some characters that kind of got taken out of the fight for good reason. Not because, oh, I'm scared, I'm terrified, and I'm, but more like someone, their situation kind of forced them to step out, get out of the way, and not be involved in the battle. So we got a little bit of a different perspective on that. And I'm trying to talk about this without revealing too much. And like I said, if you are watching this and haven't watched my other videos talking about this trilogy, then it wouldn't make sense anyway. So it's just kind of hard to talk about this. But just so you know, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm having a really good time, and I like where it's going so far. Nothing, I don't have anything negative to say about it yet. But, I just got started. I'm only let's see. Okay, there's only 2 more. I'm in the middle of chapter 20. I'm almost done with chapter 20 and going into 21, so. But this will be, once I get this book done, that will be my first series, technically trilogy, that I finish this year. And then I plan to probably jump next into, it's not, I don't know where the book, it's all the way over there, I have to get it, but A Darkness of Sethathon, which is the 4th book and the final book in the first Rift War saga, because it's one of those series where the author wrote multiple series, so it's kind of does what Raymond E. Feist with that series, I think, from what I've seen, did kind of what Robin Hobb did, where there's a bunch of series in one world. I think. Like, when I looked it up, there were other books after those 4, so, but I'm just going to focus on those 4, so I'm probably going to read that one next, because it's not as long, it won't take me as long to read, and then maybe I'll get to Serpent of Tongues, or Child of Prophecy, and I also need to read a horror book that's not a Stephen King horror book. I'll need to pick up, like, I do have one, I can't see it right now, but it's, let's see, where is it? The Curse of Crow Hollow by Billy Coffey. I might pick up that one soon as well, because it's a horror that, or at least I think it's a horror that is not Stephen King related. So, but speaking of Stephen King, since I don't really have a lot to say about this one, I have more to say about the Stephen King book. Salem's a Lot. So this is technically a reread, but it's been so long. It's even been a long time since I've seen the 2003 adaptation of this, that it feels like I'm reading it for the first time, because there's a lot of stuff I don't remember, and even the little bit I did remember was more from the 2003 adaptation, and of course it's not accurate. It's not a perfect adaptation, which I think with adaptations, like, you're either gonna get one that's I think the best a fan can hope for, and the people who make the film adaptation can hope for, is one that's like close enough to the original source material where, yeah, of course it's inevitable. Changes are going to happen no matter how much we don't like it. Changes are going to happen, because they're not going to make it a carbon copy of the original book, because that would be boring. And then also, there's just some things that books you can put in a book that in reality you might not be able to do. Or if it's a much older book, especially if you're adapting it now, they might have to change some things, because it's not what would have been okay back then, back in the 90s, the 80s, the 60s, or whenever, might not be okay to put on screen now. So changes are inevitable. But, it can be an adaptation that's, I think the best adaptations are the ones that are close enough where the changes that they make sense. And they're close enough. I don't know if the 2003 adaptation, it's been so long, so I don't know how close it is to I just remember I liked it when I watched it. I thought it was a good movie, as far as the movie's concerned, but I don't know how good of an adaptation it was. I mean, if people can, because you have The Shining, where by the Stanley Kubrick version, because there's 2 adaptations. There's the Stanley Kubrick one, which is not the best adaptation, but it's still an entertaining and good movie. That's how I feel about that one version, which I think it came out in 2011. The one where Jim Caviezel, and there's always that one actor, and I can't remember his name, that it was an adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo. It's an attempt at an adaptation, and it's a good movie separately from the original, the book, if you look at it as a separate thing from the book. But as an adaptation, it's not good. It's not good, but it's a good movie. Sorry, I try to get over it, but that one, where it felt like, how I interpreted the comment is they were saying, they were mad at me because I liked that adaptation, that attempt at an adaptation, this one comment. Now, it's been a long time, and I don't remember, and I'm not gonna, go back and read the comment in all honesty, because it just makes me uncomfortable. But whenever, they didn't, the vibes I got from the comment were they were not happy. It almost felt like, and maybe this is not what they intended, but they were not happy with my, I felt like they were And I believe I explicitly stated in that video that yes, it's a bad adaptation, but it's a decent movie. It's a good movie. And I think that's how it is with Stanley Kubrick Shining. It's a good movie, it's just not a good adaptation. I think that is possible, where you can still have a good movie, even if it's not a good adaptation. You can still enjoy it as a separate thing. I mean, at least that's what I think, but maybe not. Maybe some people are just too close to the original source material that they can't even enjoy it as a separate thing. Anyway, so either way, it doesn't matter, because in the case of this one, I don't remember either one. I just remember that there was one part that I remembered that it's different in the adaptation, the 2003 movie, from this, the original book, which I did not realize. And I was like, although I also shouldn't be surprised, because like I said, changes are inevitable. People are going to go, it's that person's vision. And even if you don't like it, it's their vision of the story. And they might think that something will translate better or be more intriguing in a movie than what the book does, the original book does, which some people will say, will get mad and be like, how dare you do that? How dare you disrespect they'll see it as a disrespecting to the original story. But, movie making and TV show, like screen stuff, what goes on screen, like Hollywood stuff, is different. I feel like it's a different medium. It has a different audience. You have to find, I think those people who create adaptations for books have to find a happy medium between pleasing people who have not read the book, because there are people that don't read the books, because it's just easier to go watch a movie or watch a TV show instead of taking the time to read a book for some people. Although it still kind of bothers me when people I know are like, oh, I'll just watch the show or the movie and won't even bother with the book. That still kind of bothers me. Like, they could at least, I'm thinking, you could at least try the book. And Stephen King is one of those authors that he's not that hard to read. He's very, his writing, he's very readable. But anyway, enough of that. I just have strong feelings about that whole thing. But anyway, so this was his second novel he published after Carrie, and I think Carrie does take place in a small town, but I think this is the one that actually focuses on the small town and all the residents of the town. Like, I feel like Carrie, from what I remember, which again, it's been a long time. I read that like 7 years ago. Like, it was before we moved here when I read it. It was one of the books I still had on my shelf, because we put most of my books in boxes, but I kept some of them out. And so I could read, so those could be, I would have some reading material. And so but from what I remember, vaguely recall, I think it more focused on Carrie White and her mom, and then in the students at the school. I don't think it really focused on as much on, maybe it did, maybe there was a little bit of the town involved. It's been a long time, so I don't take my word for it. It's probably one of those books that I should reread. But anyway, and this is the first time that his first book where he includes a writer as the main character. In a lot of his books, there's a writer as the main character, either the main character or one of the main characters. Like, if there's an ensemble cast of main characters, like It, for example. One of the kids, one of them, Bill, actually is the writer in the group. But not all of them are writers, obviously. And so, and the town is called Jerusalem's Lot. And Salem's Lot is kind of the nickname, that it's easier for the townsfolk to just call it Salem's Lot, or the Lot, instead of just saying the whole name, which is Jerusalem's Lot. Which I think is a really interesting title, because when you think of Salem, you think of witches. But I think it's no spoiler that this is a vampire book. And also haunted house story, which I didn't even think about that. But Mike from Mike's book reviews pointed out this is also kind of a haunted house story too, which I didn't really think about that. So let me tell you in case you don't remember or are not completely familiar with this. So we have our main character Ben Mears. Like I said, he's an author. He's had a moderately successful career, and when he was a kid, he used to live with his aunt in Jerusalem Slide. But something happened to him when he was a kid that traumatized him. He wanted to hang out with these older boys, and they decided for initiation he had to go into the haunted Marston house, and he had to come out with something, with an object from inside the house. And when he's in there, he sees something that traumatizes him. And then years later, he's an adult. He's left Jerusalem's Lot, and then he's decided to come back and write a story about the Marston house. Even planning on renting it and living there for a period of time while he's working on writing. But then someone else has bought the house. These two men, Stryker and Barlow, and they plan to open an antique shop. Barlow is the silent partner. Stryker is the one that the people deal with. And like I said, it's no secret that there might be vampires in the story. This is a vampire story. And weird things start happening, like a dog gets murdered early on, 2 boys go missing, and slowly, over time, something starts happening to the residents of the town. And, of course, Stephen King does his signature slowly building up the story, helping us get to know the characters and the town. You know every little detail about the characters. And you get some background information about them and who they are. And he just slowly established the story. And like I said, all the attacks happen slowly as well. Like I said, early on, when Ben first gets there, the thing with the dog happens, which, oh my god, I did not like reading that part. I mean, it would be hard to see that when I watch the adaptations, because there's 2 adaptations. There was the 2003 one, then there was the one in the 70s. That's gonna be hard to watch, because I am a dog lover through and through. I mean, any animal cruelty is just... I hate that. But we've already had some creepy moments. I've already had some creepy moments that I vaguely recall as I read them from the adaptation, the 2003 one. I haven't seen the one in the 70s, so. And actually, Mike, on his book reviews, on his channel, said that it's kind of hard to get access to the 70s one, but I would love to watch it, because I heard it's really good. And I don't have any attachment to the 2003, like, with Fright Night, the remake, I have an attachment to that one, and I like the actors involved in that one. That includes, David Tennant and Anton Yelchin, and, I know people prefer the original. A lot of people prefer the original. They don't like how Amy is portrayed in the remake, and, but I'm personally attached to the remake, so it's like, I don't know if I want to watch the original one out of, principle, but, I feel like I should at least try it, because, I would probably still enjoy it. I might, my opinion might be a little tainted, because I have a special attachment to the remake, but in this case, I don't have any attachment to the 2003 adaptation, although I love Rutger Hauer as one of the main antagonists, is all I'm gonna say. And then I wish I could remember his name. The other guy, the other veteran actor, he's the guy who played President Snow in the Hunger Games. I cannot think of his name. What is his name? It's gonna pop when I'm done filming this. It's gonna pop into my head, whatever his name is, or maybe in the middle of my filming, which actually that seems to happen more. I'm in the middle of filming and I moved on to a different aspect, and then all of a sudden I remember the name. But anyway, a lot of creepy. So this book is so creepy. Although I get more freaked out and creeped out by like what I see on screen, you know. And I think that's because I was a veteran couch potato growing up, so it's like with the visual of actual visual instead of just it being described to me scares me more than reading about it. Um, like, I mean, I cried for the first time on a book last year, but that's because I read someone's letter. Um, and it was a nonfiction, so I was like, that, you know, that's the first time I ever cried. So normally, I'll get mad and stuff in a book, but I won't ever cry, and it doesn't necessarily scare me. But, yeah, so far this is really good, and, by the way, let me see if I can, people talk about, say he's a hack writer, but you know what, let me see if I can find it. There's something I underlined that to me was a great sentence. If I can find it. I should have folded the page over. Where is it? Is it past this one? No, it's before this, after this one. And, oh my god, the part with the boys though, what happens to the boys, you know, especially as someone who has 2 nephews, when I read stuff like that, that's hard to read. Let's see, sorry, I'm trying to find, because I want to read a sentence to you that I think is really great. I think it's after this chapter. Sorry, I shouldn't have folded the corners over of this page. I could easily find it. Where is it? Oh, yes, found it. Found it. Oh, no, you don't. Hang on, the screen starts to go black. Okay, so people saying he's a hack writer. Well, listen to these sentences. Even so, there are April days which linger in the memory even after one has forgotten the wife's touch or the feel of the baby's toothless mouth at the nipple. But by mid-May, the sun rises out of the morning's haze with authority of potency, and standing on your top step at 7 in the morning, with your dinner bucket in your hand, you know that the dew will be melted off the grass by 8, and that the dust on the roads, the back roads, will hang depthless and still in the air for 5 minutes after a car's passage, and that by 1 in the afternoon, it will be up to 995 on the 3rd floor of the mill, and the sweat will roll off your arms like oil and stick your shirt to your back in the widening patch. It might as well be July. But when fall comes, kicking summer out on its treacherous ass, as it always does one day, sometime after the midpoint of September, it stays a while like an old friend that you have missed. It settles in the way. An old friend will settle into your favorite chair and take out his pipe and light it, and then fill the afternoon with stories of places he has been and things he has done since last he saw you. So obviously you can tell it's talking about this changing of the seasons in this town of Jerusalem's lot. So yeah, it does have some words in there that are like, you know, a little bit, you know, little typical Stephen King words, like, you know, but it's still, yeah, it's a great sentence. So if anyone thinks he's a hack writer, read carefully first. But anyway, I thought that was a great sentence. It really describes, in King's signature way, describes the transition between fall and between summer and fall, especially in small towns. He's talking about New England town, and I don't exactly live in the New England town. I live more in the southern and farther down south, but it still kind of has similar vibes, I feel like. And also, I did live in Maryland for a while, so that was a little closer to New England than where I am now in North Carolina. But anyway, so I'm really enjoying this so far. It's really fun. I've been trying to read it when I'm in bed so that like I'm reading it at night when it's, you know, when it's dark and in my cozy bed and stuff, like, because sometimes I feel like that can take away the scariness of it if we're not reading it like in the evening at night. Like especially with Stephen King horror books, which a lot of them are horror books. So, although I'm watching Mike's reviews and I'm like, oh, I want to pick up the Wastelands before I forget again, like I did last year, because I intended to pick up the Wastelands last year. Around the same time, I started rereading the series. I read The Gunslinger and The Drawing of Three. But then I forgot. I forgot to pick it up. I got sidetracked. So it's like, oh, I need to pick it up now. And there's, like, and it's not the only one. There was also, like, you know, he brought up other books as well. I, you know, watched reviews for other books that and I'm like, oh, I want to pick up that one too. Like Tolkien and all that, and like my Lord of the Rings marathon, and then all the, you know, the Brandon Sanderson Way of Kings. So what I'm probably gonna do is bring a bunch of books downstairs in my kitchen, you know, in my living room, because I'll probably hang out downstairs, and spread myself out on our dining room table, and bring, you know, all those books that I'm probably not gonna read. I just like having them there, you know. I just like having them in my space. But anyway, so that's how my reading is going so far. Like it's really fun to reread this, and especially since it feels like the first time, even though I've read it before, even though it is a reread, because I barely remember it. And then, like I said, I would like to try to watch the adaptations if I can get access to them. Maybe I'll find them at Walmart. Next time I go to Walmart, I might find some of the adaptations. But I mean, and I did like the actors in that one. You know, the one whose name I can't remember. Rob Lowe, I think he did a pretty good job. Samantha Mathis, Rutger Hauer, of course I love. Which I think he always is really good. He has this charm to him, but he's also intimidating and scary. You know, kind of like Tim Curry, where the actor has like a charm to him, but he's also can seem scary and intimidating. Like, I feel like him and Rutger Hauer are very much in the same playing field as far as their performances go. And the same thing with Anthony Hopkins too. He has like a charm, like a calming, soothing, comfortable, but then at the same time, he plays creepy. He can play creepy and intimidating really well at the same time. And I guess in a way, I would also include Christopher Lloyd in that too. Although he's more charming in a different kind of way. Like, from what I've seen of his roles. And all those actors are around the same age too. But anyway, so I'm gonna stop now before I say something. I'm gonna, something embarrassing or something. So, that is Salem's Lot, whatever it's for, Salem's Lot. And Honor Republic. So, what are you guys currently reading? Is there anything you're super excited about that you want to share? And I really hope you enjoyed my little talk about the books I'm currently reading. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, click subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell notification below if you want to be notified about my latest videos. And I hope you're enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye.